Now, with a growing number of countries reporting cases of the Omicron variant, nations are shutting borders, COVID-19 restrictions are returning, global markets are bracing for a crucial week ahead. Now, this is a developing story. WION reporters are tracking the spread of the new Omicron variant. And here's a WION ground report from 8 nations across the globe. Take a look.
Authorities in the 5 southern Indian states have stepped up surveillance and testing and tracking protocols after the emergence of the new variant of COVID known as Omicron, which is also said to be a variant of concern. Well, the scare actually stems from the fact that 2 passengers who arrived from South Africa in Bengaluru were tested positive for COVID. However, authorities allayed fears that this is only the widely prevalent Delta strain of COVID that they tested positive for. However, the 5 southern Indian states and their authorities have decided that there will be, quarantine and testing of people who arrive from parts of Africa, parts of Europe and also Southeast Asian countries. Well, so far it also needs to be noted that there is no case that has been officially announced of the Omicron variant from the 5 southern Indian states. From Chennai, this is Siddharth MP, WION World is One.
With the emergence of the new COVID variant, the Pakistani government has banned incoming flights from 7 countries. That includes Hong Kong and South Africa. Pakistanis residing in these countries are allowed to come back to Pakistan after special permission, that too until the 5th of December. This was stated by the Pakistani COVID monitoring body, the NCOC, and they say that they continue to monitor the situation, the evolving situation, very closely.
Sri Lanka, much like other countries from around the world, did ban the entry of passengers from 6 countries in the African continent, including Botswana, Lesotho, as well as South Africa. Now, what is also concerning for Sri Lanka is that Sri Lanka is expecting a revival or a boost from tourism, especially from the upcoming winter season, to help with its forex crisis as well. So it will be interesting to see how this variant, which has now been labeled as a variant of concern, will sort of mitigate or downplay in Sri Lanka's hopes of boosting much needed tourism revenue for the country.
Several countries, including Germany, UK, have reported their first cases of Omicron variant. These are the countries from where many Nepalese and foreigners frequently travel to Nepal, putting the country at risk. The variant has spread in South Africa, so the Nepal government has made a 7-day quarantine mandatory for all the people traveling from South Africa or via South Africa, and also no on-arrival visas will be given to the people coming from African countries. Meanwhile, the experts believe that the country should instead focus on ramping up its vaccination process. Saloni Murarka for WION World is One in Kathmandu, Nepal.
South African President Cyril Ramaphosa slammed countries that have imposed travel ban on South Africa, saying the move of those countries are unjustified and discriminatory following the identification of the Omicron variant. He called upon those countries to urgently reverse the decisions and lift the ban they have imposed before any further damage is done to the economy.
The government held a recent drill to test its response to any new variant of concern, and so has been able to act fast. We're seeing a return of by now familiar, if unwelcome, restrictions like closing the doors to all tourists, corona hotels, quarantine, tracking Omicron cases and the green pass. Rights groups are urging caution to protect privacy, and the tourism and travel sector is calling for support from the government for lost bookings. The key message from the government is for people and children over 5 to get vaccinated to ensure an easing of restrictions as soon as possible. This is Jodie Cohen for WION World is One.
Well, that's clearly going to be one of the topics for the G7 ministers to discuss today. The UK position on this, and Boris Johnson was asked about this at the weekend, is that the UK's role so far has been about making sure that the AstraZeneca jab was available at cost to millions and millions of people around the world. It also says that it believes that some of the problems in developing nations with vaccination rates at the moment has actually been around hesitancy and take-up, not just as simply as saying that the doses haven't got to those countries in large enough numbers.
whatever it is, Americans have made up their mind about how they want to deal with this virus. And for what it's worth, Dr. Fauci has said that he leans towards caution and not panic. So, and he also said that it'll be 2 weeks until we know whether or not the current vaccine that we have at hand will be effective towards this new variant or not. So that's where we stand right now. He also said that, you know, get your vaccines, get your boosters, and go ahead with masks. But I think for the most part, it's safe to say that Americans will continue to do what they have been doing with the other variants until they have more information.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.